What's up, shaky hand Hollywood? This Hollywood and Hollywood Drag Racing. What's up, man? I'm down here in Fort Walton Beach, Florida with my OG, Mr. James Jimmy Gresham, Mr. G.
That's right.
Tell them who you are, man. Introduce yourself, man. You know how I like to let everybody talk about. When racing, I tell me who you are, where you from, what you do, and a little bit of something about you, so folks get to know you, man. How about that?
Well, my name is Jimmy Gresham, and I was born and raised in Selma, Alabama.
Selma, Alabama.
Yes. And
what year?
well, I was born there, and I left there at the age of 16 because my mother, she had moved down to a country town called Alabama. Yeah, and so I didn't like it, but I wanted to, be with my family, my mother, but I didn't like ops, so I joined the Navy, and I became 17.
So you said the Navy, that was a hell of a decision to leave your whole city to go to the military.
Well, Op was a farm town.
Okay.
And I was, used to something a little more different from that. And
right.
So I joined the Navy, and I found out that doing the traveling, I kind of liked it,
Okay.
And there I met some ship musicians trained in Annapolis by the Navy. And so I enticed one to teach me music.
So hold on. So you went to the Navy.
Yes.
And then you was a musician in the Navy. That was your job?
No.
Okay,
no.
well, what's the job?
The job belonged to one of my shipmates who was trained in Annapolis in the music conservatory there. But I would be there looking and wanting to play and didn't know how to play, so he taught me how to play.
What was your job in the Navy?
I was a boatswain's mate.
A boatswain's mate?
Boatswain's mate, yes.
So what does that entail?
That you have to learn all the modern spike nomenclature, such as the 21 knots, bends, and hitches. That's how to tie different knots.
Right.
You have to learn how to play. Some of the knots you have to learn how to play, people don't even know the name of.
Right.
Like a bowline, and a bowline on a bite, a clove hitch, a half hitch.
These are knots.
A square knot, yes.
And these are knots just on the boat? For the boat?
Huh?
For the boats?
Well, it's different knots that you can tie, and with just a baby can come and make one turn, the knot will come loose.
Wow.
But then still, if you tie it can tow tons and tons of material.
Wow.
You can pull it and it won't come loose.
And so you were in there and you were doing that, and you hear the music playing over here, and that's how you get the interest.
Well, we have what they call a day room. And all of the guys can have recreation in there, taking part in having a meeting, reading or whatever, but they have a keyboard in there too.
Right. Right.
And so you find some of the shipmates really knew how to make magic with that keyboard.
Right.
And so I like that, and I wanted to make magic too.
Okay.
So I would give my shipmate $5, a week.
You gonna give him $5 a week to go do your job?
No, teach me music.
To teach you how to play the music.
Yes. And so he would teach me not just how to play it on the keyboard, he taught me how to read it and what the signs meant and everything. How many lines is on a staff? There's 5 lines and 4 spaces.
Right.
And so,
music theory.
And each note has a calling, an accidental. It either has a sharps or flats, and each key has that in it, and C don't have any sharps and flats.
Natural.
It's natural. But now there is such a thing as C flat when you're talking in terms of a certain key.
Right.
That's in G flat.
Right, the key of G flat.
Yeah.
You can have a C flat in that.
In that key.
And basically in the octaves of that key, you can have a C flat.
Yes.
Or the diatonic scale, the scale of G flat, there's a C flat.
Yes.
So I know a little bit about music. I don't know, the rhythm, the connection between me and Mr. Gresham goes back to a time when I had to deal with what I had to do, and we met on some times when both of us had to pay our dues to society, to say the least.
That's right.
Right? But however, we made the best of the situation by me being a pupil of Mr. G in terms of music theory, learning how to play instruments that I had never learned how to play, basically opened my horizons up to a whole different culture in music past, hip hop or R&B. I learned a lot about playing standards, blues, and just all kind of musics. Learned musicians still on this monk, Yardbird, Parker, all kind of people, just all through our relationship, of meeting at the bench.
Yes,
he told me
right.
meet him
at the bench. At the bench. That's where you started.
Yeah, he told me I gotta want this shit. And he said you gotta want this shit, man. You gotta want it. You gotta get out here and want it though. Yeah.
Because if you want, you got to know not just what makes you feel good or sound good. You got to learn the science of all of it to make the music work. And so you have to not just learn to play a sound, but learn the fundamentals, to learn music theory and all about it.
Right.
The lines, the spaces, and what it looks like on paper,
Yeah.
So, like, music, and it's one thing about it, unless you have any type of impediments, and even then you can obtain some type of fame on playing music. Anyone can learn to play music, read or write music.
Right.
But you have to, give of yourself to the music to try to learn it,
Which segues way into a conversation we was having earlier about your heritage and your family's heritage in the music industry, and with people like Fred that was with the leader of James Brown's. His name Fred Greer. Wesley Greer.
Yeah, this is.
And they say hit it, Fred. He's talking about Wesley Greer though. Right?
No, this is Fred Wesley.
Fred Wesley.
Now Rosie Greer.
Different person. Okay, I'm putting two people together.
Yeah, a famed football player.
I'm putting two people. I'm putting the football player and the musician together. That's how I do it, but it's all good.
Yeah, Rosie Greer was the tackle for the Rams.
Okay, so you know some history about some football too, huh?
Yes, well, I love football, and I knew most of them, including the recently departed famous lineman Merlin Olsen, who became a newscaster later on in his career.
Right.
But I knew all of them. I'd have all of them dancing in a line like they were the Temptations.
Yeah. Where was you doing all this at?
Well, I did it at the Shrine Auditorium there on in Los Angeles,
Oh, so this big boy stuff right here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about big auditorium.
Oh man, come on, talk to me about this, man. You got to take me for the ride, Mr.
Well, I had, like we had different skits and things. Like, see, you have to appear in certain venues in Los Angeles in the Navy. You have to belong to the union.
Okay.
And most of the guys, they do scab jobs and they playing at the little clubs where they're not affiliated with the Musicians Union, Local 47.
You was Local 47.
Well, Rosie Greer.
So you was a scab.
I was a scab until I started having to play for Rosie.
Okay, I got you.
Now, when I played for Rosie, then he wanted us to play wherever he went. All of them down on Sunset Strip of Hollywood are on television.
Right.
And so when I started, like when Shindig first started coming on, that's a musical thing.
Right.
When they first started coming on, then, ABC television, they bring, well, before you can appear on those programs, you have to belong to the guild. You have to belong to AFSTRA.
Yeah.
That's the American Federation of Actors and Screen Actors Guild.
Right.
That's a union.
Right.
So it costs money, about $500 to go join that.
Right.
And people don't have that type of money. It would take at that time, I think, about $200 to join the American, the Musicians Union.
Right.
And then if you're doing that, all of the best jobs that really pays good wages, union wages, you have to belong to the union. Well, with Rosie, I was belonging to all of that.
Rosie had everything took care of.
Yeah, we joined the musician, the whole band. put all of us in the union, at Local 47, and then when we started doing the things on Shindig and all, then we all
What
had
is
to belong.
Shindig, Mr. G?
That was a variety program, music
television?
program, like, yes.
Okay.
It was, and though you could be on that, you have to belong to the Screen Actors Guild.
The SAG.
Yeah, after and all
Yeah.
that. Well, then that took money, to take money.
Right.
So you had to be there. But so when I started working with Rosie and a lot of the members of the that football team, well,
Right.
then that gave me an avenue to, you know,
To get into the game.
getting into the union. And when you get into the union, then because regardless of how well you play, if you're not a member of the union, you can't get certain jobs.
Period.
See, that's right.
Right.
And so we had a nice outfit with the playing, but when we joined the union, then we started being able to play in different things.
So now you're at the top of the line now.
Yeah,
And you can play.
Yes.
And you can play.
That's right. And you could play. We had the dynamite outfit, you know.
What's the name of the band?
I was the Gresham Brothers was
The Gresham
first one
Brothers
we
was first.
started. Yeah. And then the 3+2 quintet, you know, we had a couple of various names, but then when we worked with Rosie, then we just had the Rosie Greer Band, you know, that covered all territory.
Right.
But with him, we had we would back up. There was guys like the Fearsome Foursome, they call them, which consist of Rosa Greer, Deacon Jones, Merlin Olson, and Lamar Lundy.
These football players.
Yeah,
The
the linemen for the Rams.
Yeah, them the big boy football players.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we played for them, and then through them, I was able to go to different places. I was partners with another music producer that lived out there in Hollywood named Larry Johnson. And Larry, he had the connections with knowing who was the proprietors of what. And so we had the music, and Larry had the connections to Steers, so we had a partnership in that. So we started doing things everywhere Rosa went, we went.
Right.
You know.
That's pretty cool right there, man.
Yes, sir.
So check this out. So I remember a while back, you and I when we were talking, you used to show me you were still getting royalties from some music that you actually wrote. And produced. What was that actually? That music there? Okay, you know.
Some of it came from doing that time back there. Like you know, we was on shows like with Glenn Campbell.
Okay.
Before he became a big star, where Glenn Campbell was start doing backup work with ABC.
Right.
And on Shindig, you know, and he would sing sometime. Some of his hits until he recorded the Wichita Line and Galveston and those type of things.
For the movies.
But he did, huh?
For those movie soundtracks.
No, those are just his songs.
Okay.
That they used oftentimes in movies and whatnot. But every one of the things that Glenn Campbell would say we would do, because in LA you got a chance to know people like this particular individual. He was you would think that he was just a flower child or something out there on Sunset Boulevard, Phil Spector, but he was one of the biggest producers out there. He produced the Righteous Brothers. He had all those guys out there, you know.
Yeah, you knew of those guys.
He was a multi-millionaire, but he walked around looking like a hobo, you know.
Phil Spector.
Yeah. And I produced records with them there at Gold Star Recording Studios on Santa Monica Boulevard.
Right.
Just about a few doors. It was on Vine, Santa Monica and Vine.
Right.
You know, still out there in Hollywood.
Right.
So
Hollywood in Hollywood.
yeah. So,
I did that,
enjoyed
man.
my stay out there.
Yeah. So you love that. So look, I'm looking back at the heritage now. You know, you was telling me, man, we in the book now. You holding the book. Tell me a little bit about this book you got there, mister.
Well, this is a book entitled "Hit Me, Fred," written by Fred Wesley Jr. As you can see here, this is the book.
Yeah, that's pretty neat right there, man. That's James Brown man right there.
Yeah, James Brown band leader. The trombone player.
Okay.
And so, he and my brother Willie, they was in Alabama State College together back in the early 60s.
This Fred and
Fred Wesley.
And your brother Willie.
Willie Gresham.
Willie Gresham, okay.
And as you can see in this line here, that's Willie's, he's talking about Willie there. And as you can read out loud what he says right here.
The band at Alabama State was a mess. The only thing I remember is rehearsing Stardust over and over again. I think we were the same uniforms that Coleman and Pratt had worn when they were there. I kind of lived my way through some history classes, some more of the same music, theory, and a physical science class that was really serious that time. I met a tenor saxophone player named Willie Gresham. That's your brother.
Yes.
So talk to me about this little situation. Your brother was tenor sax, and he was trombone.
Yes.
So that's two horns. We got two brass players right here.
Yeah.
And
one was a little further advanced than the other.
Way advanced if he comes because he telling him he need a little more work.
That's right.
And he basically got to want this
So
thing.
you need this that you read in this book here.
And so what he said that right here. And he said, eating pig ears and practicing Willie Gresham took up most of my time. Most days we would start out early in the morning, go to the store, pick up a couple pounds of ears, go to his place, put the ears on the cook, and start practicing some Coltrane solos that he had transcribed. He would suffer along with me for a while, then tell me to continue to work while he went into the other room and worked out some of the some weird scale book he had.
Yeah.
I would get frustrated and say, Willie, I'm gonna call it a day. I got a class, or I got a class, or I gotta meet Allison, or whatever. He get real mad and yell at me. No, hell no. You need this. It sounds like something. It sounds like something you would say, man.
Yeah.
That's where you got that from, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, so you copied out for Willie.
Yeah, because
and that's what you want this thing.
That's what it did to me.
But that's where you got it from.
Yeah.
So man, look here, check this out. You've been playing that instrument, like you say you 87 years old. You've been playing music for 80 years, Mr. G.
Well, practically, yes.
All your life.
Because, my mother, she used to pay a man named Mr. Willie to teach us.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't have physical instruments, but we was being taught with our voice. Because he was in one of the more better gospel groups, that was around town. And she was working, doing washing and ironing and clean up some person's house for $5 a week and stuff like that, And we're talking about now back in the early 40s, World War, when we entered World War II and stuff like that, So she always was interested in us being involved with music. So it never left. We just, as we began to be able to buy different things like guitar, we didn't have to make one out of a cigar box no more.
That's how you made it. That's how you initially started to play.
Yeah, you make a guitar out of a cigar box. It didn't play.
It just pick at it.
Yeah. And so that's the way we did. But once we began to be able to generate some funds, we buy a real one. It wasn't the best quality.
I know for me, and like what my passion is, in the moment in time I have to put my helmet on and get under that thing and get to my skill.
Yeah.
It gives me my only moment of personal time. Is music that for you as well?
Right. Today and forever. Yes.
I mean, even with
Yes.
even if the you know, because at some point, you know, even me at the sport I'm in, I have to think from the physicality of it, you know, and the drive is always there. But how does that play into from the psychological part of it when that's been something so strong for you and you start can't do what you want to do?
Well, take for instance, what you see right now is right now something that I have to have. And I don't need to have to go to someplace else or someone else to have this. If I was in prison, I had to be around those instruments and have to have a right to them. You know, even though you might be limited on how much of it and when you can use it. But here, I had to, you know, they have some studios, but I find that most owners of studios already have a prerequisite on what they want, what's coming in there to sound like or be like, or what type of things it is, you know. So it's easier for you to have your own place that where you can go and try to exert what you want to as far as your craft is concerned.
Right.
Because, you know, as Willie would always say, one man's poison is another man's medicine. You know, so like they might not like what the sounds that's coming out here, but if it's something that I'm seeking, and you know that kind of makes me feel ethereal, you know, then I need to be able to do that and pursue that.
Right. No matter what it costs.
That's right.
Because it's not about the cost.
That's right. Now there are some people, and I don't speak bad about them, but they use this music in different ways, and they might want to even when they doing the poetry or whatever to use profanity. You know, well I don't do that. I'll you know.
Well, that you know. Since this gonna be my behind the scenes and I'm good with this, we're gonna talk. Is this the behind the scenes? Check this out. Yeah. We was talking and having a conversation kind of similar to that, and it was based on how we use certain words even across the board that cross ethical lines, you know, cross boundaries of race and so forth. And we write and we use it to propel our own media.
Right.
But we offended if it's repeated back to us.
Well, sometimes, but
if you put it out there, you got to be able to take it. Is that about right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay, that's how I come. The conversation I was in.
Yes.
It was based on you know in it like hey you know if they put it out there they got to be able to take it.
Well, that's why I say I don't do that.
Right.
You know, because I like some different part about the music. I like the melody, the lyrics. I like the story. But I don't necessarily have to say certain colorful words or whatever
to tell the story.
To feel what I want to feel. You know?
Right.
I like Lionel Richie. He in his music, he didn't have to use those colorful words or nothing. You know, and to make a point is I don't down other people doing it if they're doing it and they're able to make it work for them. That's fine. But it's just like, you know, some things I'd like to keep on a different level, you know.
Respected.
Yes.
Respected. You know, and that's the same way I feel about my racing.
I believe that. Yes, my brother.
That's the same way I feel about my race game, man. Like, it is just levels to it, man. It ain't nothing nobody I'm worried about thinking about. It's just the way I like for it to be for me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just what it is.
I know. I remember. I can't remember exactly what it was you said, but I think one of your bikes wasn't working right for you or something when you was telling some guy that was with you that you got to do some more work on it. You wasn't working the way you wanted it to work.
Right.
Yeah,
I was riding probably a little red bike.
Yeah,
that wasn't my bike. That was a friend of mine's motorcycle.
Okay.
And it was actually the second time that we had taken the bike out And that was the only motorcycle I won on in 2020. I didn't even win on my own motorcycle in 2021, man. But I won the little motorcycle called Chief Red Cloud. I won at the Racing Hour. And happened to be an hour at the same time where you can see the Milky Way constellation. I had never seen so many stars in my whole life. But it's been a blessing, man, to be able to come down here, and see you. And, you know, share a moment with you in front of, like I said, the people that follow me. And, you know, a lot of people, they don't get to see me but one way, you know. You know, by me never being open up to anyone, never having social media, I'm basically telling my story in the process of telling your story, as well as opening up our, you know, our sport to a different group of individuals that did not know. So what was the name? Hold on, man. We done gave them the props. What was your song that you get the royalties to? That's what you need to be telling them about.
Well, there are several that I had. I thought I had one down here in a cover.
You might not have that down here, but look here. Go ahead. You know the name of it. You can check from it.
Yeah. A million things that I could do for you.
A million things I could do for you.
Yeah.
Man, that is so sweet. What was the inspiration?
Because my happiness depends on you.
That's what you wrote.
My happiness is loving you. Yeah. I brought
when did you write that song?
Back in the 70s.
I was born in 1970, man.
Yeah.
What you was doing in 1970, in March of 1970?
I was going to somebody else's studio being dissatisfied because they want to tell you what to leave in and what
you
to
know,
take
back
out.
in 1970, that what was going on?
Yes. Because there was a studio around here, and around in this area here, they had a fair studio, but it had money enough to buy stuff, you know, equipment.
Right.
But his idea was totally different from what soul music would be.
But the soul was too early. Y'all, it was too early for him, huh?
Well, at that time, I believe it was because, you know, I love country music. But you see, what you project on some soul music, blues or whatever, is totally different from the feeling that you're trying to project in some of this here. Take these chains from my heart and set me free.
Country music.
Those things, yeah.
That's
different from saying, oh baby, don't you wanna go? You know what I mean?
Same
That's
thing.
different. Yeah.
But different way.
That's right.
The delivery.
And so this gentleman here, everything you did, it sounded like it would sound like I don't know if I do this word here, I was gonna say a hermaphrodite.
Huh?
I was gonna say a hermaphrodite.
I don't know what that is, but we'll go. But check this out. So how does that, when you translate that to music, what does that go like?
It's going like, you know, it's got a mule head, but a cow's behind. You understand what I'm saying?
Now I understand. So we just talking about two different animals going two different ways. The music it has no flow.
That's right.
And no feel.
That's right.
So the other thing, one of my other buddies said, he feels like life is all about the feeling.
It is.
The three feelings. The three F's, he say, the feel, the felt, and the feeling.
That's right.
What do you think about that?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Because, you know, I like different styles of music, and I like to sing a love song. But, you know, like, that was a real fine singer, I think, in the person of Luther Vandross.
Okay. Yeah, Luther.
Very fine singer.
Right. What was your favorite Luther song?
Huh?
What was your favorite Luther song?
Here and Now.
Yeah, that's bad. Live.
Here and Now.
I like the one when he was live with
Yeah,
when he said he was just catching his breath. Yeah. Hold on a moment, I'm just catching my breath, y'all. Yeah, I like that one too, man.
Okay.
He was a bad boy though.
Yeah.
But look here, man, I really had an opportunity, really blessed, You know,
Yes, sir.
to know you all these years, and you know, you've been impactful with my life just the same. With you know, we reached out to each other all these years, man. You know, and
God's good.
he has been absolutely. You know, and you know, it's good to be able to come down here, spur the moment, and drop in on you, see you in good health and everything. You know,
Well, I think God brings people together who can appreciate each other.
that's right. We need each
I
other.
believe that.
That's right. Well, I love you, man.
You know what Willie Gresham always
What
told
do you say?
me? Man sharpens man like steel sharpens steel.
That's right.
I believe that.
Love, man. Good deal.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
look, Hollywood Drag Racing. This is my man, Mr. G.
Yes.
And we're going to holler at y'all on the next time. Now, peace. That was a good one, Mr. G.